Morons, how are we all doing this evening? Let's address first of all that I'm not Kyle. Kyle's got COVID, so he's sort of lurking in the background, but he's unable to speak to us this evening. But how are we all doing? We all having a good time?
All good.
Yep, having a great time.
I'm good, thanks. We've got the Masters on in the background, so I'm enjoying that as well.
The Masters? Oh, well, I suppose it's a sports movie this week, so you'll be happy about that as well.
Aye, too much. There's actually been too much sport this week.
I don't think you've ever said that in your life.
No, those words have never left your mouth ever.
Where are you on your travels this week, Hunter?
I am in the mighty big town of Grimsby, currently on live, watching Married at First Sight Australia on the other screen.
Married at First Sight Australia? Fucking hell. There's one season of that's actually fucking brilliant. I watched all of it.
On this one, spoiler alert, but they've just found out one of the lassies who's got an OnlyFans, so it was all kicked off.
Top end television. It's weird.
Grimsby sounds like a lovely place, eh? Grimsby.
I watched the UK one of that, but I never got into the Australian one. Maybe I should actually start watching it.
It's right up your street.
No, I watched the UK one, but I just never. I think the Australian one started right after it, and then I watched like an episode and just never bothered. I think it was right after. It was just too constant.
Aye, the Australian one is a different level. They're all just fucking each other's husbands and all this. It's like mad. Anyway, movies. So last week we watched Sean's picks, which were pretty well received. So we had Gone Baby Gone. I'm not going to pretend to remember the scores. All that stuff's Kyle's idea. So I did all right. It was middle of the road. And Rush Hour 2, which we decided is better than Rush Hour 1.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. And therefore making it the best action comedy of all time. I think we agreed as well.
So it's weird because me and Sean both sort of said we do think the first one's better. Do you think the first one's better, Hunter? Or the second one?
I think I prefer the second one.
What
I don't know if it's recency bias, but I think I prefer the second one.
I actually think I scored the second. Sorry,
Sean.
I was just going to say, I think that looking back, I think that I scored the second one higher, but I said I preferred the first one. It just doesn't make any sense.
I was thinking this. I think I've done the same, and it just sums it up, doesn't it? Like
I'm not very good at this.
I was consistent. I scored the second one higher, and I prefer the second one. At least somebody's keeping me right. I give it 4.5.
Once we get to 200 movies, we can maybe put Rush Hour 1 up the way it should be.
We can all give it a plus 0.5 and put it. It'll be top 10 by then.
Aye, it should be top 10 now that I think about it. Best action movie of all time. Well, action comedy. So this week was my picks. And I'm going to be honest, I'm incredibly nervous because I picked two movies that are very dear to my heart.
I think you also had to wait the longest between your picks as well. Did you not miss out when we all done ours as well? The last time we'd done it.
This is the first time I've really had picks where I really cared about the films. I think before, because we were picking like 16 films, you ended up with like two random movies out of your 16. Whereas I think now, because we actually picked the two, I like the new format a wee bit better. So yeah, this week we watched Cool Hand Luke, which is one of the movies I grew up with, and White Men Can't Jump. Again, a big movie of my formative years. One thing I did notice was that last week was actually the 20th anniversary of White Men Can't Jump coming out. There you go. I don't know if that was on your trivia, Hunter, so I don't know if I've spoiled that.
No, I've got to be up in front. Because I'm up and away, I've not got had my usual prep time, so I've literally just got IMDb loaded to my laptop, so if it's on there, I've not seen it.
Oh, sound well. I know lots of stuff about White Men Can't Jump, so I can fill in some gaps. So I think I want to go last this week, so I'm just going to go to each one of you individually. So I want to go to Sean first. So what did you think about? I'm going to say which movie.
Cool Hand Can't Jump.
Cool Hand Luke, we're starting with.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. I want to start by saying that you should never choose films that are dear to your heart because you're only going to get disappointed. Obviously, I'd never seen this film. I'll be honest, I'd never even heard of it before I watched it. I finished watching it today. I also had realised that you'd actually put your login details to watch it. I've ended up fucking paying £3.50 for the privilege to rent it on Laurie's Amazon account. It just made me feel even worse after I watched it.
Did you think you just messaged and asked if MD had bought it or that, or rented it? No, we just bought buy it ourselves.
No, because I've done that in the past and all that. I just never even thought of it, to be honest. But
I made a point of buying it so that we could all watch it.
Aye, but
no,
I watched it. It was between manias, and I thought Daniel's probably, because I know you need to do the verification. I thought Daniel's probably sleeping. I need to get this done to do before the football on Sunday.
Mine's didn't have a verification. I just created an account on Daniel's login and it all went fine.
Oh.
You probably didn't even notice I created an account. He's got a second account name in his account for me.
Make yourself at home, Bunsy.
Me and Bugsy have got an agreement with stuff like this. I've got his Sky Sports. He can have my Amazon. It's fine.
But it was just a very, very slow-paced, I'm going to use the word boring film, I felt. Like, for a start, he gets sent to prison for 2 years for vandalising parking meters. But that's a bit an excessive punishment in itself for vandalism, is it no? Again, I'm not one that's ever been to jail or been up for vandalism, but it just seemed a bit excessive. And he's stuck there with people who have been 20 plus years.
Just to answer that, it's because I think it's classed as government property. So it's vandalism of government property. I'm sure, because I've read the book as well, so it goes into more depth with the rest in the book. So there you go.
Okay. So like, I just thought that was a bit strange. But anyway, obviously the main kind of story is him in the prison and stuff like that, and then when he breaks out. But I just kind of felt like nothing was happening for like the first hour. A lot of it was kind of obviously them talking like in the actual kind of prison. It was a very obviously it's an old film anyway, so the classic kind of prisoners on the side of the road doing their labouring and stuff like that, just sweeping grass. It looked like for hours on end. I found the scene with the female car when she was washing her car very, very uncomfortable, and I found it very, very silly. She just started rubbing the soap stuff all over her dress, and then like that guy, I don't know, the kind of co-star, the kind of main co-star guy, the kind of balding man. What was he calling her? Lucille? Was it Lucille or something like that? Lucille, and he just it was very, very creepy, and I don't know, it just kind of creeped me out a bit, and I just found it really silly. And then when she started fucking drinking water out the hose, I was like, what is going on here?
That was bizarre.
It was just really, really strange. Like, just basically, just like horny prisoners on heat. Like the first time they'd ever seen a woman before.
This the podcast.
That's exactly what it is. It's prisoners that have not seen a woman for such a long time. So you just described.
It was just bizarre. I just found that if the woman was acting normal and natural, but here she is parked across the road from prisoners doing their day's labouring with their chains wrapped around their ankles and stuff, and she's just washing the car, rubbing the sponge out her stomach, and then drinking water out of the fucking hose on her own.
She's just teasing them. She like the idea is that she's doing it to tease them.
I just found it really, really slightly uncomfortable when he was whispering her name and stuff like that. I don't know, but I just felt like it was just like the film wasn't really going anywhere. I didn't really see like what the actual plot line was. I don't know. I just didn't really get. I expected a lot more because obviously you chose it for a reason, and it was what was it you said last week? It was did you describe these as your comfort films?
This is one of my favourite movies.
So like I don't know. I just went in expecting a lot more, and I came out the other end just kind of like it's really, really no for me. I just didn't particularly enjoy it, and at times it felt like I was watching like a daytime Channel 5 film. If I'm completely honest with you.
Is that it?
I'm sorry, but I just didn't like it.
See, to be honest, I didn't expect you to like it. And this is why I came to you first. And this is why I did Cool first, because I felt like White Men Can't Jump so much safer option for this crowd. So we'll see. I'll jump into wee bits in between and I'll go back to each of you, right, just to address your issues, I suppose. The scene with the woman is a bit daft and throwaway, but like, I don't know, it's not a big part of the film with me.
No, as a definitely like throwaway scene. I don't know, when I was watching it, I just found myself like, it's the way that you'll need to tell me his name. I'm like the boy, the fucking fellow prisoner who was like the main
Dragnet is what they call him.
Right. So he was just really creepy. Yeah, just was really creepy.
He's a creepy guy, like, and they're all perverts and they're all been away from women for so long. So it's not just like they've not had a woman. I think they've not even laid eyes on a woman probably for years, some of them. So that woman coming out and even just probably seeing her would make you react the way they did. But outside that, I think I started watching this movie, like I saw this for the first time when I was really young, and I sort of fell in love with this straight away. I don't know what it is about it, like, and this is like a very highly regarded movie as well. I'm sure it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
it is.
Sometimes it is hard to remove yourself the fact that this is the mid-60s that this came out. I think Paul Newman is just like the coolest cunt ever. And so much stuff for this movie's been like parodied. I was hoping that you would pick up on some of the stuff that loads of stuff that this film has been taken out and put into other stuff and like parodied and loads of stuff. Like, it's been in everything from The Simpsons to almost every prison movie sort of takes a little bit of its ideas, for this being pretty much the first movie of this type. Do you know what I mean? Like, the eating the 50 eggs is such an iconic thing. And the guy with the reflective sunglasses, the fucking silent guy with a gun, there's so many times that's been copied in films as well. And I just think, to me, Luke is like the coolest guy ever. I think he's the coolest guy to ever be on screen. Like, there's just something about him. And I think that's what it was. Paul Newman was such like an iconic guy in the 60s. And he's, to me, there's just something about even just how he looks that, like, there's a wee bit where they flash back through wee clips of him just smiling. And like, I would just love to be as fucking cool as Paul Newman, man. Like, he's the coolest cunt ever to me. And I think that's what it is. To me as a kid, like, I just thought this was the coolest guy ever. He didn't give a fuck about like authority. He did his own thing. Like, it didn't seem to be for any reason other than because that's what he wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't like rebelling against any sort of society. He didn't have like these stupid ideas. He was just a guy doing whatever the fuck he wanted, basically. He went to jail for a stupid thing in the first place. There's bits where I get really emotional as well, where obviously you get a wee bit of his relationship with his mum, and there's obviously some sort of disappointment. And that was the last time he saw her. Then he hears about her dying, and he sits and sings his wee song. And anyway, let's go to Hunter first, and I'll come back in later.
Is this you coming in for the slightly more positive uptake on the film?
I'm going with a sandwich of shite, then hopefully okay, then shite again, is the way I think it's going to go.
I'm not one to dampen on any parades, but I did enjoy very much. There was a lot of aspects from this I did enjoy very much. As you said, the whole Paul Newman is look like I was like between him and Steve McQueen and The Great Escape were kind of like the two people like in that era. Like, I've grew up with relatives talking about, they were like the best actors, the coolest actors, whatever. And I don't get ever given in them, but you just gotta take it in your stride and just like, they both like do it at family parties or whatever. But then that's the first time I actually sat down and watched this, and I've got to acknowledge, like, I give it that, like, the way that Paul Newman is in this film, like, and that whole devil may care, like, what is like whatever he's done in his life, he's kind of just takes it in his stride. Nothing is going to break him. I think he's made his peace. I think a lot of it, maybe it was a front. Maybe it had broke him to an extent. I think he was ready to die when he did at the end. I don't know. That's maybe just my judgment from it. I don't know if it was maybe just his mum going. Maybe it was. Maybe like. I mean, the only thing I would say I wish there was more of in this film was a bit of his backstory before the whole parking meter incident. I mean, obviously, you kind of get a snapshot of it in that conversation with his mum, which is like, I'm dying in X amount of time before you get out, and everything's going to your brother. And like, you kind of get a snapshot. He's made a few wrong choices and things for his life. It's maybe not his first brush with the law either as well. He's not just woke up one day, got a hair cut, and went, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a pipe cutter and start stumming down all the parking meters in the town and just get caught. But then from there, I think his arc whilst he's in the jail is very good. I mean, he kind of goes in. I mean, I think even the fact that scene where he's just getting beat up by Dragnet and he's kind of like, he's still going back for more. He's kind of like, I think that kind of epitomised to me as in, he's already taking all he can take. Whatever he does to him, he's ready for anyway. The fact that he even comes out and says, you have to kill me, like, to stop, and they end up just walking away. I think, as I said, he was ready for it whenever it came anyway, and I think obviously that was for someone that was that ready. I think that's why he kept escaping, because he knew, obviously it's way back when it was set, the transportation links, whatever. So he was only ever going to get so far on foot. I mean, it's not as if cities were built or whatever. So he's basically going by foot. Probably, like we've seen this scene where he meets the wee boys. It is literally just like one house on a farm. Then that's the next again for 20, 30 miles. So between rest and whatever, that's all he's going to get. So maybe he was just doing it to get caught. He was just wanting a challenge, right? So you've put the chains on me. So let's see what I'll show you. I can get out with one chain. Or I'm caught again. Here's two chains. I'll show you, like, I'm better than you. Knowing that he's going to kick back and the punishment's going to be even more severe. And even then, obviously, the fact that he does play them at the end when they're like, dig that dirt, no, put it back, no, dig it and put it back. And he plays them, and again, it's so good how he plays them, and you don't expect it at the end. I mean, for me, the ending of this film kind of reminded me of, I mean, I'm not saying it's on that level because I know Sean might reply to this, but for me, it was kind of like Breaking Bad. It was kind of like, you wanted him to get free, you wanted him to, such an anti-hero, you wanted him to escape, you wanted him to get free, but when he died, you've also made your peace with that point as well, like you think he had as well. Similar way, I mean, sorry for ruining Breaking Bad for...
I don't think Kyle's finished it yet. I think he's just got like 6 episodes to go. Oh, it's amazing.
So, in a nutshell, I enjoyed it, and I mean, it's not... Oh, sorry, Kyle.
Just for people, obviously, you can't see what we can see, but Kyle, even though he's unwell, is in the background, and he's just messaged to thank us for destroying the end.
See, to be fair, he's had 6 episodes to go for about a year, basically. So he's got no excuses. He's got absolutely no excuses. But at least now we can review El Camino, now that even Bundy knows what happens at the end of Breaking Bad. So
Burnsy's sitting here without a clue what the fuck we were talking about.
The time I got into watch, I forgot the ending was anyway, so it's fine.
Aye, I don't. He didn't quite get. If you've not watched it, he's not really giving much away there. But Kyle understands completely, so that's fucked. But you were talking about the Hunter.
But I would agree with what Hunter's saying there, as he just said that he was ready. But sorry, on you go.
So for it, as I said, at that point, I kind of, it was that whole kind of, you want him to get free, he dies, you make your peace with it, and again, it's still a good ending, even though part of you still wants him to escape at that point. And as I said, in a nutshell, I did enjoy this film much more than I thought I would. Again, I went in probably to begin with the whole 60s, and I think also during it there is, I think it's just a time set when a lot of films in this era is, there's an awful lot of dialogue that maybe doesn't add a lot to the film. There's an awful lot of them just sitting chatting shit. But I think the key scenes are very good when it matters.
Nice. I think the way you talk about the ending is great, because that's kind of the way it is to me. I don't think it was ever really about escaping. I think he actually just wanted to sort of keep going until he got to a point that, like, that's the end of it now. It's done. He did things just because he wanted to win. He wanted to do it. He only had a 2-year stretch. I mean, he clearly could have just sat there, chilled out for 2 years and got out. It wasn't really anything about that. I think it was just about him constantly wanting to challenge himself. Like, oh, I'll eat 50 eggs. Just little things like that. Like going all in his poker hand when he had fuck all in his hand. Like, it's those little things that were sort of iconically cool at the time. that to me are still like that now. But do you want me to, I'm really scared to do this, but I want to kind of leave Kyle.
Oh.
Good. So because Kyle's unable to talk, he sent me his reviews. So I haven't. This will be the first time that I've read them. So here we go. Oh, and I've seen the scores now too. Right. So Daniel's picks for movies always give me the fear. I think of absolute dog shit like Ballad of Buster Scruggs, No Country for Old Men, which he gave 4.5 stars to. And he would have picked The French Dispatch at some point, so blame him for that too. I'm stopping it right there because I would never have picked that fucking bullshit. I was very fearful going to watch Cool Hand Luke as it comes with a bit of a reputation. It's high on IMDb, Oscar winning, but I'll tell you what, I was absolutely justified in being worried. This was boring as fuck, excluding the boxing scene, which was decent, and Joy drawn out scenes to really hammer in the point. The rest of it was so fucking bland. Paul Newman is awful. Well, that might be the first time we're going to get hate for that. You can't say Paul Newman's awful.
He's picked a convenient week to get COVID when he can't back up his argument.
Paul Newman's awful, fuck hell. So boring every time he was on screen and a very unlikable character. Well, I'm going to need to ask Kyle about this next week. You're not a hero for trying to escape for a crime you did commit, you tosser. Fuck's sake. The only thing I wanted from the film was to see him suffer being in prison for another 50 years after multiple failed attempts. It's very much a no from me in this movie. A worn watch. Don't know what that means. There you go.
I was about to say before you started talking, I thought it was going to be positive too.
That was scathing.
I knew that this wasn't for Kyle at all. Like, I knew it at the start. But what did you think, Burnsy?
So I watched this in two scenes, which the first hour was that bad I had to turn it off. It just was boring the absolute shit off me. Like, I think for a start, as you would have known that because it's set like 60 years ago or something like that, it's never going to be one. It's probably unlikely to be one that's going to blow me away. But because you had recommended that highly, I thought maybe it was going to be different. I thought the captain was quite authoritative in it, but the boxing match, I thought that was awful. Like, well, same match, it was just him Luke getting just his ass handed to him and just getting decked all over the place. It was actually just at the stage, it was kind of like, it was disgusting to watch more than anything. Like, I didn't really see where they're going with it. The boiled eggs thing, I was just like, this is random. Like, what is the actual point? Just didn't like that at all. I watched the second half of it today, and it did get better in the second half because the first half for me just seemed pointless. It was like somebody said earlier that they could have done a bit of background to understand why he's going into just smashing up and then just end up in prison. The second half was a bit better because they tried obviously the various escapes. But again, similar to Kell, I was kind of like, well, he obviously just wasn't. I don't know whether it was more he just wanted to prove a point or whether he just wasn't accepting that he deserved to be in prison or what the actual point it was. But I would say that I thought Paul Newman was pretty decent in it, but to me it was just the actual storyline just bored me. Like, I don't think they did that much. I think for what you were saying, Daniel, you felt differently, but I don't think you got to really know the character that well. And I think as well, see, because there was that many inmates with him, then that didn't really help for me as well. Like, I know there was the sort of main co-star, but there were so many other ones that were there. It kind of just, I was sort of losing who was who at some parts as well. They could have maybe concentrated on it being like a smaller, and maybe just instead of sort of two main stars, like have a few or whatever. And as Sean said about I had noted down about the car washing. That was just like, what on earth is this? It was as if it was going to turn into a cheap porn movie or something. That's what I was thinking when it was going to be on. But nah, it was just, it wasn't as bad as some of the stuff we'd watched, but it's down there for me.
Not as bad as some of the stuff. I'll take that.
It's not as bad as Bus or Scruggs. I could actually stuck with it, even though it took me 2 seconds. But the second half was definitely better than the first half. Because I messaged Sean earlier. I said to Sean on Saturday, I was like, "Have you watched any of this?" Well, in fact, no. So I messaged him after that and said, "Have you watched this one?" And I said, "Oh, I've watched half of it." I didn't say that it was that bad. I turned it off. I just said, "I've only watched half of it. I've got half to go." Which was basically because I couldn't put myself through another hour of it back to back.
Thanks. I already thought you'd sort of put the boot in already. That I didn't need that last wee bit. Like, I feel like at that point.
I didn't see the second half was better than the first, though, so I was actually surprised a little bit when I watched it today. It improved my score a bit. Went up from a 0 to 0.25.
No, I do want to be honest that I did not think this would be well received, but I just wanted it to be one that we scored. Like, it's a difficult one because it is sort of universally loved, this film. So I'm surprised by maybe quite how scathing some of the thoughts are, but that's what it is. Just to go over a few of the wee points, like, to me, it's all about his relationship with Zagnit, like how that guy was basically the bully, but like he wouldn't be bullied essentially, and turned out to them being sort of best pals. And that's where that guy made the stupid decision to go with him, because he sort of idolized Luke, and they all sort of did. They all idolized him in the place, and it was like at some point, like he sort of snaps and he's like, "Stop fucking feeding off of me," and it's like they needed him to get their sort of fucking entertainment to get through their time in fucking prison. But I was always a big Guns N' Roses fan growing up, and there was a bit, you see the little speech where he's like, "What we've got here is failure to communicate. Like, some men you just can't reach, blah, blah, blah." Like, I've always known that all by heart. It's at the start of a Guns N' Roses song as well. It's just like a really famous speech. I think that guy's weird voice and the way he delivers it is cool. Like, he's a creepy, weird guy, and he comes across as really evil to me. And then obviously you've got the other guy who's like the fucking silent killer cunt. But I think it's great. I absolutely love it. I didn't expect you guys to like it, but I think this is like an iconic classic. That's how I feel about it. But will we do Kyle's score first?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a wee guess? What do we think Kyle's giving it?
I think he's giving it a 0.
0.25.
Less than 1 anyway.
Well, you'll all be surprised. 1.25. Enjoyed the boxing scene and the George Kennedy performance. The rest was shite. So a 1.25 for Kyle. Burns, let's go back the same way. Sean?
Just before I give my score, I know that it's obviously universally liked, and I think it was 100% Rotten Tomatoes for the movie critics and like 95% for the audience. So it's like I'm a simple guy that likes simple films that I enjoy watching. If I get bored, I would normally just turn it off. I'm very simple, and that's just what I'm like. So I'm scoring this obviously based on my enjoyment, as I always do, and I'm going to give it a 1.
Sound. Hunter?
It's a 3.5 for me, a bit more positive at least.
Burnsy, I'm terrified about this one.
No, you'll be surprised. As I'd like to see what we'd done the previous ones, and Bus or Scruggs is like 1.4 or something. But I know you're going to boost this up, so I'm going to give it a 1.25 as well, because the second half was decent. The first half was awful, and the main character was all right, or better than all right. He was good. So.
You're right. I'm going to boost it up. This is in my top 5 favourite movies all time, and I'm just like the 100% critics and the Rotten Tomatoes, and I get a 5.
You said a 5, aye?
Yes, I did say a 5. Yes.
That seems like I was a question, but I actually didn't hear you. Right, so overall that's a 2.4. Massively far too high if you ask me, but there you go.
I mean, come on, 2.4. It's fair. Thanks, guys. I feel like you're all trying to be gentle there, and you're held back a bit. Like Slag it off,
Like,
it's fine.
I'm
It's not like
not just going to
a
know
game.
like a film because like somebody picked it. Like, if I'd never seen Gone Baby Gone, and if I didn't like, and that was my pick, and if I didn't like that, I would have said I didn't like that. But like, it's no like we've said that before. It's no like anything. Like, no, just not liking a film on purpose just to be funny and annoy one of your pals and stuff like that. Like, just didn't like it.
I think as well, Dan, you've got to remember is although if we go in and like destroy a film, there is ones that are beyond defensible that we've watched. So
Oh, aye.
even
Yeah.
if you go in and absolutely tear something to shreds, then it's never going to be down with like some of the garbage that's at like 0.5 or whatever that we've watched. It's
No,
not anywhere as bad as that.
See, I've been on the other side of the fence though, because like you guys all quite like Gone Girl, and I gave that a 0.5 because I fucking hated it. So it's how it works. It goes out of the evolving cycle. But Kyle just put it there that it's now joint 81st with Hocus Pocus, another Sean favourite.
Fucking Jesus.
I can't believe that we've put. Oh, I forgot to come to you for trivia, Hunter. Do you have any?
There is a steam here, so I will rattle some off. So, firstly, in the road tarring sequence, the actors actually blacktopped a mile-long stretch of highway for the county. 200 hard-boiled eggs were provided for one of the film's most famous sequences. Due to clever editing, Paul Newman only ate 8 altogether. The rest were consumed by the cast and crew, which led to extreme cases of flatulence the next day.
In fact, there.
So Stuart Rosenberg wanted the cast to internalise life on a chain gang, so the presence of wives on set was banned, so it was a sausage fest 24/7. In the fight scene between Dragline and Luke, took 3 days to shoot. George Kennedy said they were both completely worn out from fighting, and Paul Newman's case from falling hard onto the ground for 3 full days. I mean, I can't imagine how bad the first takes were if that took 3 days to film. Luke's prison number 37 is a reference to the Bible, Luke 1:37, which comes off the Bible phrase of "For God, nothing shall be impossible." Luke is seen as a saviour by the other convicts as he gives them hope. After the egg eating contest, he's laid out on the table in a posture resembling the crucifixion. So there's a lot of Jesus chat in this trivia.
Here's one more.
Paul Newman's. I'll do this one first, then you can come in with the Jesus chat. Paul Newman's best actor nominated performance was the only one in the category from not a best picture nominee that year. So I think we had a similar trivia with Gone Baby Gone the other week where can't remember the actress's name now because I've not got my book, but she got a best actress nomination, but Gone Baby Gone wasn't up for best picture. And it's the same with this. It wasn't up for best picture, but best actor.
There you go. I wasn't going to come in with any Jesus chat. That's funny. But
I thought you said you had some more.
No. I said give us one more.
Oh, sorry.
No. So I mean, it went as I expected, guys. So it is what it is. But I fucking love this film. I'll stand by it forever. It's cool as fuck. It's kind of talking about cool movies though. This next one this just reminds me of being like a young teenager and growing up. And I've seen this movie about 150 times at least, which is White Men Can't Jump. Sports movie for Burnsy. I wanted to keep everyone happy with this one. We'll start with Sean again then. What do you think of this?
So I've definitely seen this before, but many, many years ago, and I didn't remember literally anything about it apart from the cast. So I felt like I was watching it for the first time again. But no, I liked it. It's like I like sport films. I loved basketball and PE. I used to go to basketball club on a Tuesday night. Used to stay behind school and do basketball club. So it was a wee throwback for me when they were doing the layups and stuff like that. Made me want to go play basketball again. So if any of you fancy a wee game of basketball, I'll be right up for a wee 2-on-2.
Wait. We need to do that now. We need to film this game 2-on-2 basketball for a laugh after this.
By the way, here, listen, right, and I'm genuinely being serious here, right? I genuinely think that I could have had a future at some Scottish level of basketball if I had continued it. But I was young. It wasn't seen as cool to play basketball in Central Scotland. I played for I played for my school. We went to Falkirk High, and we smashed them in front of a crowd as well. So there was that added pressure. You can imagine the stuff that we were getting called wasn't pretty, but we overcame that and we won. So it's always something I've been very fond of as basketball. Not a massive watcher of the NBA or anything like that, but I do enjoy a good layup and a 3-pointer.
What about basketball though?
But back to the film. I did really enjoy it. I just love the kind of street side of it and stuff like that. Like it's, and actually, as I said, like I've definitely seen it before, but I can't remember anything at all. So like I was very shocked when he actually got hustled himself very early on in the film. Obviously, when they lost their first match, I believe it was only the second 2v2 that they'd done when they teamed up to do the hustling. So I was quite taken aback because when he went home and told his girlfriend that he had lost the money, and then she basically dragged him along to, is it Sydney and Billy?
Yeah.
When she dragged him along to Sydney's house and his wife answered the door, I was like, oh fuck, he's been hustled. It just hit me at that point. I don't know if it was meant to be obvious or anything like that, but I totally never picked up on it. But no, like Billy's just a fucking idiot. Like he's basically like got a gambling problem, but in the form of 2v2 hustling basketball on the streets. Like I just want to wring his neck sometimes when he's got the money and then he loses it. That thing as well. Obviously, the white men can't jump when they're in the car, and then they go and they've just won the $5,000, and he's straight away he's betting half of it, and he gives him a chance to get out of it when he stops the car the first time, but then he just doesn't shut up and he keeps going for it. So I was actually quite glad when he lost that, but then it was obviously set up that he would do it in the last game to win the money and all of that stuff. So nice wee touch and all that. But no, like I did like it. I expected to like it, if I'm honest. I didn't go in thinking I'm probably going to hate this. No, it was a good strong pick from you, and it was good. I watched this before Cool Hand Luke. Kind of wish I'd done it round the other way to end this week's films on a high, because I hate when I don't like the second film. I much prefer it when I either like them both or don't like the first and like the second. But no, I did enjoy White Men Can't Jump.
You make a good point about the gambling. Is that he's definitely got a fucking major issue, and obviously they address it quite well through this film. I think like the bit where you're talking about where she gets dragged to his apartment, and obviously you see that the guys he was playing against were there, and you see that he was being hustled and all that. But when Gloria and Sydney's wife, whose name I forget, have their conversation in the kitchen, she's like, "It's your fucking boyfriend that's the issue. It's him that's the fucking issue." You know what I mean? And I think they do a really good job in this of the fuck about in the movie normally still gets the good thing at the end. Do you know what I mean? Normally they fuck about and they're arseholes all the way through, but then they learn their lesson and they get together and whatever, right? But that's not realistic. Somebody with a gambling problem is going to have a gambling problem forever. And instantly, as soon as he had that fucking money, he goes and just does it again.
I was glad it ended the way it did. It was a good point because it's obviously like it's nice that it is realistic because like how many chances did she give him? Like, I think in the film he lost 3 lots of money. Was it 3 lots? I think. And obviously they've alluded to more as well
in the film.
Say again, Hunter.
So probably the best part of $10,000 he lost in the film between the savings, the $2,500 for splitting the tournament, and whatever he lost after that as well.
Yeah.
So, that's a good point. Is that I think it's a good realistic portrayal, and like I love the fact that. So, see, like us as a group, for example, like pals, right? We slate each other relentlessly. Like we take the piss at each other like fucking hard all the time, and I like that, and it makes me enjoy that sort of atmosphere. I think it's all because of this film growing up. I fucking loved this film, and see the fact that they were all good pals, but they took the utter piss at each other constantly. Like I don't know, there's something about it that just sort of speaks to me. And when I was a kid, I just fucking loved that. And that's how we all get on, is that we can take a laugh and you can laugh at yourself. And that's one of the things I really like about this. But let's go to Hunter next.
Right, so this is a weird one for me. This is one of the films that had probably been recommended to me that many times over the years that I'd managed to convince myself that I'd already seen it. Whereas, in truth be told, I don't think I actually had, or maybe not watched it all the way through. But again, this is another one, shock horror, that I did enjoy. I thought Snipes and Harrelson were absolutely great in this. I mean, there's one thing that Sean did touch on, which I think is a bit of a plot hole for me with this, was the whole Tucci Brothers thing. I mean, does that date not start with Gloria buying a car? So she goes on Jeopardy and wins all this money, yet is left with the house that they pick up her debt while she fucks off with her rollerblades on and a Walkman into the sunset whilst they're cleaning up on Jeopardy for the 4 or 5 minutes.
I think what happened is he lost them even more money by throwing the basketball game. So
That's what it was.
So he was supposed to throw a game and he didn't.
Didn't bother.
But I did think that the fact that debt started off as hers, and then he's been sat, even though he's parked the bay, but she's just fucked off with her, however much, many more thousands she won on that. But again, like you said, like the whole, the only thing, another thing for me, obviously that's been cleared up, was I kind of wish you'd maybe seen a bit of the. I know we kind of, I kind of told myself, I was like, you kind of just get to see a snapshot of the story. This is where the book starts. Like a book, this is where it starts, this is where it ends. Everyone's got a backstory, and you've just got to make your peace with. That's what it is. But I would have liked that. It would have been maybe good to maybe seen. Well, obviously, as we know by what happens is, it's not the first time that he's gambled money away. He does it several times in this film, and it's not the last time. It might have been many other fuck ups along the way. But the Ministry, obviously, I imagine they've had a very on-off volatile relationship from the word go. Obviously, you can see the fact that he goes from coming back, he can't even bring himself, that scene where he can't even bring himself to tell her that he's lost the money again. And obviously, the apartment goes on fire and whatever else. But the rest of the scene now, maybe the foundations, like obviously, he's maybe been doing it. How long has this been going on? I'd imagine this has been going on long before he's met her. He's been out hustling. He's one of those. Snipes is one of those guys that had all the talent, maybe, and just to apply himself. He maybe could, like in the storyline. Obviously, I've got some trivia here about how good Woody Harrelson actually was as a basketball player, but in the storyline of the book, that maybe if he'd applied himself a bit better, he maybe could have achieved a career in basketball. But again, what was the thing? On that, and then obviously there's the relationship with him and Snipes, which is again is really good throughout. And it's kind of even though you know it's set up as Sean said towards the end, where he's going to make the dunk and win them the money and win the tournament. So not only does he get his pride back, but he also gets some money. And so for me, although it's set up, it kind of, I know what you're kind of talking about, Daniel was saying, it maybe wasn't the Hollywood happy ending where he gets the girl and gets the money. But for me, it was his happy ending. Like as Wesley Snipes kind of said to him, I gave you the option and you came with me. So obviously you're no right for each other. If you regardless, she's gave you the option to stay with her, and you still chose to gamble the money and come with me. So maybe this is in his mind. Maybe he's done that. Maybe subconsciously. Maybe he knows this is it's never going to work out with her. So maybe it was still a happy ending to him in a sense, rather than it being the perfectly scripted boy gets girl, boy makes amends, boy gets girl again, and they all lived happily ever after. But that aside, again, it's a good story about even though they're a bit of shaky terms at the start, they do bond and they are friends by the end, and maybe that is the sort of influence he maybe needs on his life, rather than the hot fiery Latina who's going to shout at him every time he does something wrong.
Fair enough. So this is actually about Billy falling in love with Sydney and leaving his wife, his missing daughter. I mean, it has a new twist to it, really.
I never tell you what. There's an interracial homosexual relationship. Maybe he's got a bromance or dependent rather than.
Aye. But no, I think you're right that Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson together are amazing in this. The chemistry's fucking brilliant. I think you'll probably touch on some of the other people that decided to be in this movie. So part of the auditions was you had to play basketball. and they had like 2-on-2 games set up, and you had to actually play. Have you got this trivia, or will I just go with it?
I've got some about who was their coach and talking about what level the two characters are.
I'll go with actors then. So Keanu Reeves was the first choice for this to play the Woody Harrelson part, but apparently he was too shy at basketball. And David Duchovny from the X-Files was the other one. But Woody Harrelson, I think, got it based on being better at basketball, which is class. I just to sort of carry on with what Hunter was saying, like, I just think this film, I used the word cool quite a lot in the last film, right? But this is just a cool fucking movie. They actually, like, see all the courts where they shot it. Those are actual, like, basically schemy basketball courts. It was real life, and they had to, like, I think it was quite difficult and scary for them to actually film there. They had to get, like, protection and shit. And I think it's because the filmmaker wanted it to feel like a real environment. I think it does a really good job of that. Like, all the characters feel really believable to me, even though it's quite stupid. Like, it's hard to fight. Like, is it a film? Is it a comedy? Is it a sports film? Is it a sort of relationship drama? It's sort of got loads of different stuff going on in it, which I love. Like, even just her whole journey to get onto Jeopardy, that they keep sort of dropping in all the way through, her sitting practicing, and he's going to make the shot to Sedan with a hook shot for the other side of the court. I don't know, there's something really about this. All those little basketball scenes I love. I think they've got the perfect balance of, like, actual movie to sport scenes. And I think the majority of issues with sports movies, we touched on this with you, Sean, in The Fighter. The issue you had with The Fighter is that the boxing looked shite compared to the boxing. And I think this probably does a better job than any film I've ever seen of making the sport bit look legitimately good. Do you mean there was nothing about it that seemed like tacky or stupid or overly choreographed or nothing? It just looked like guys playing basketball. And I think that's what sets this apart from other movies that are like this, where you get the sport in between the normal.
What you'd say on that, it kind of was a point I did have in my head, was I think with most sports films that always achieve on maybe the ultimate professional goal is like The Fighter, he's world champion in boxing. You've got Goal, where he's playing for Real Madrid and winning getting your like things like that. They're always aimed at the top level, whereas maybe a more street level sport would maybe make some other sport films a lot more enjoyable, like this was.
And that's the thing. Oh, sorry, on you go, Sean.
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, on that, it's a lot easier, like, because if you, it's basically what Hunter said about, well, use Goal as an example, you can't really make that realistic. Him playing for Real Madrid, it's always going to look really stupid. But if you've got, like, Woody Harrelson's really good at basketball, Wesley Snipes really good at basketball, you can just have them day 2-on-2 with two boys and just film it, and it just works. It was so much. It's the actual sports scene, like the actual basketball scenes. Like, for all the sports films that I've seen and that I can think of, it's definitely the best because it is just real. I can imagine it's just them just playing basketball, maybe doing different takes to make sure the ball obviously goes in and stuff like that. But no, it is a good point.
But what I'll do is I will go to Kyle's review before we come to Mr. Sport, because I'm intrigued about his thoughts. So, here we go. He started off with the same fucking start as the last one. So Daniel's picks for movies always give me the fear. Think of absolute dog shit like Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and then he's actually a cool hand look to the list because he's a fucking dick. He goes, but then I was extremely thankful that we finally got to watch White Men Can't Jump. Now this is a film. The chemistry between these two is perfect. He says play the clip. Don't know what he means. Hunter got that reference for the FIFA nerds. Chemistry, fucking hell.
Wow, loser, man. Oh my god.
No wonder he used to read that out to saying it himself, he would have got abused.
Wow. Anyway, Wesley Snipes is brilliant. Forgot how much I like him as an actor. Might need to go watch Blade now. This is an extremely good example of a basic storyline done very well. Both have huge flaws in their personalities. They should be unlikable, but you can't help but love them. Billy Hoyle is a frustrating character because, you know, he's always about the next gamble or hustle. His missus knows His missus knows that, sorry, but continually takes him back. Her Jeopardy storyline should be the worst part of this movie, but I really like it. Bangers. Very good watch. Could rewatch multiple times and still enjoy it as much as the first few times. That actually leads me to why I picked this. I think
bangers.
That's what I was thinking he was going to say.
Well, it's a good point, right? Because I was talking to Ella about these films being like my favourite films growing up, right? And see, this movie is probably one of the first times I remember seeing boobs in a movie. And like, do you know what I mean? Like her when she gets her tits out. When I was young, I just thought like she was like this amazing woman. Because I watched this when I was like a kid all the way through. And when you get to that age, I was saying to Ella, I was like, I think this is the first time I ever saw a tit in a film. Do you guys remember the first time you saw a tit in a film? Let's have a wee segue.
Titanic.
Titanic.
I was watching it with my mum.
Are there tits in Titanic?
Aye.
Paint me like
I
a
can't
French
remember
girl.
that.
Aye, paint me like a French girl.
So you watched it with your mum. Tell us about that.
I watched the film. Well, my dad was there as well.
Did you feel awkward?
Aye, because what was that 97? So I would have been. Well, I watched it in 98 when it came out on video. So I would have been 9.
Aye, that's awkward.
So it was awkward, aye. But we got over it. I mean, I still talk to him and that. Still talk to each other.
That's a good news story from.
Everything's fine. We're all still my mum and dad.
It'll be coming up to your 20th anniversary of your first tit. Your mum and dad a nice meal.
This has just reminded me, son. I'm just going to go on a wee segue here that I don't know if I should, but I also remember, like, see, every year, right, when it was my birthday, my mum used to like keep me off school for the day, right? And because my mum worked loads of different shifts, like she worked at hospital, so she wasn't just like a normal kind of 9 to 5, whatever. So like she was always off. And I remember, I can't remember, this would have been I think it was 99 that this came out, this particular film, but I'd said to my mum, oh, I've heard that this film's good, because obviously folk talking about it at school, I want to watch it. So she got it. So my mum went and got the DVD, right? And obviously she never had a clue as to what it was or what it was about. So on my birthday, back in, it must have been like 2000 or something, we've sat down to watch a film during the day. Just the two of us. Can any of you guess the film?
Right, I think I know. Is it American Pie?
American Pie. Neither of us had a fucking clue what we were getting ourselves into. That was genuinely awkward as anything.
So what I wanted to ask is, did you both sit and watch the whole movie?
No, it was turned off because I just kept looking at it. Obviously, aye, like it did not last long, but I was like, and then I remember, I'm pretty sure it was a Scary Movie came out after that, and I was like, I want to see Scary Movie. My mum was like, no after American Pie. But no, we didn't obviously make it through the whole film. But I just remember like the opening scene or two, like that was, because it was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I was sitting there with like having a piece of cheese that she had made me and all that. Like thinking it was just like a comedy with the odd innuendo in it.
Oh, it's one of the first scenes though, him wanking into a sock is like one of the first scenes.
Was that the American Pie 2?
Oh, maybe. They all merge into one.
Because in the second one, he gets his hat. He gets the glue on his hand. No, that was halfway through the film, wasn't it? I can't remember. I've not seen him in years, but it wasn't like a scene suitable for somebody of my age and my mother. But it's funny to look back on now, obviously.
Aye. I would have been funny if she actually just sat awkwardly and none of you would break the silence and just sat and watched it.
No, you not the full film, but just watched it intently throughout
it. No, I couldn't.
What was your thought?
Right, this is it's almost as bad as Sean's story of American Pie. So I remember being around a mate's house when Braveheart came out on VHS. Now, my mate's mum and dad had went and rented it. So not only was it me and my mate and his mum and dad, his gran and granda, so we're all sitting in my mate's living room watching Braveheart. And then the wedding night scene where he steps in his bride to make love to her and you see her briefs. So I was just like looking at my mate's rug, just don't be part of the rug when you see this lass's tits on the screen. Because I'm surrounded by all his family. Which is a pair of tits on the screen.
Oh, man.
When did you see your first movie, Tits, Burnsy? Do you even remember? You never watched movies until recently. It might have been last year.
Was it Mike Bassett's?
He had his actually. No, like well, as you know, I did watch all the American Pie, so it might even been that, because obviously that was what was it, late 90s or something, so it would have been 9 or 10 or something, so it could even been that, but no, I don't remember. But I obviously wasn't into films at the same way I am now as well, so God knows. Kyle put in what his was, but I missed it. You'll need to type it again unless somebody caught it.
I think I saw it was Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers, first one I remember. Bangers. Starship Troopers is absolutely shite, by the way.
It is shite. Look,
Fucking
loads of like when we were young. But before I forget, well, let's get Burnsy's thoughts on the movie we were just talking about.
Before we go for another pit punch.
So I think this film, if it concentrated more on the basketball, would have annoyed me, because I'm not really into basketball. Never played it when I was younger. I wasn't ever going to be a top star like Sean, so it didn't really interest me that much. But the basketball scenes were okay. Like, I couldn't really tell if they were well done or not well done, because it's not something I've ever watched. I thought Sydney's character was class throughout it. I loved his cockiness at stages. I wasn't sure if I was going to come in differently to what yous were, but it seems if we're on the same wavelength. Like, Billy's character irritated me, but not in terms of the actor, just in terms of the way he was shown throughout. But I think that was what was meant to happen, in terms of he just seemed really self-centered, and I don't think he really even cared about Gloria at all, really. Like, he would sort of come home and say, "Oh, I've lost my money," but I don't think he even seemed that bothered. I think he was just sort of addicted to gambling, and never once touched on him remotely even trying to stop. He just wanted his next fix. It wasn't as if, like, I'm not saying they should have done this in the film or whatever, but you would think of, if you cared about somebody that much, then you would maybe try and think, well, if I'm losing all this money and she's getting that upset, maybe I should actually think about stopping it. But that obviously came into his mind one bit. I thought Gloria's fascination with the television game show, that was quite interesting, because there was that much going on in the film. But there's some films that we watch where I'll come on and be like, I've no idea what was even going on through the full film, but because it was that simple, the background stories, you didn't feel as if you didn't need to have much understanding of it. It was just like, oh, she's into that. Sydney's trying to sell his house, and you see obviously the bit where they've got broken into. There was just like wee bits dropped in throughout the film, instead of it all being based on the basketball, which, as I say, definitely helped. Similar to Sean, I didn't pick up the double crossing bit with Sydney at all either. The part where Billy goes with Sydney to get goes to another event or something to try and win more money. To me, it was like it was as if he was actually glad that he could go and gamble again. He wasn't really interested in like spending or try to save money up with his girlfriend or that. He was delighted that probably Sydney needed him and needed him to actually help him out with cash or whatever. That was his hit, basically. And as Hunter pointed out, is that, I think it was Hunter, might have been Sean, is that where it does go, the storyline, in terms of he doesn't get the girl and he does get left, he has to pay off his gambling debts and he gets left without Gloria. That was a good way to have it, because otherwise, if she just kept on forgiving him, I would sort of suggest to you that it's all right, just go and gamble your money. Your girlfriend, or whoever you're with, or your friends will always back you. They won't care. They'll just always forgive you. Whereas he's actually now been not forgiven. But at the end, I don't think he even cared. I think he was just he was probably, in a way, he might have even felt like, oh, well, that means I don't even need to care about her and going back and explain I've lost this money. I can just go and do what I want. It was just that self-centered, and he only cared about himself. But that's what the movie, to me, that was what the movie was meant to be doing, though. But I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I was maybe coming from a different viewpoint, or people were going to say opposite. I did also think the music was with Clash throughout it too. So I think it was good. The only, which sounds a bit stupid because what you've said about me, but the basketball stuff was, to me, was a bit that actually let it down, because I didn't really care about the basketball stuff. To me, they could have just had that, even less of that, and more about the backstories and characters, which might have made it a wee bit better.
Well, Mr. Sport, the only part of the movie he doesn't like is the sport.
So basically, what he's saying is, instead of him losing money at basketball, he would have rather just watched him standing at a slot machine playing roulette and losing his money that way instead. Just take the sport
They got
out
the same outcome for me, so
have him in the bookies.
Just the guy at the party, just fucking putting money in and virtual the left.
It's just because I'm not into basketball. If it was a different sport, I might have been more interested in those bits. But because it's somewhat,
I'll tell you all about Larry Bird on Saturday, Burnsy. We'll have a conversation about Larry Bird.
Burnsy, you need to get The Last Dance watched on Netflix. That's your homework for it.
I started watching that and then I stopped because I like basketball.
Because I like basketball.
I think I watched about half of it and then just never put it back on again.
Aye,
that was actually good though. The bits I watched.
That was one of my favourite memories during lockdown. Just watching that. That's what I remember about lockdown. The Last Dance.
And Tiger King and quizzes. What a time to be alive.
Aye. I never ever watched Tiger King. I still haven't to this day. Laurie watched that herself.
Have you ever watched the Louis Theroux with him in it? Because I mind watching that like 10 years before. No.
There's
never seen any.
You can get on Now TV too of like the whole Carol Baskin, Exotic Joe, Tiger Joe. I can't remember what his name is. Joe Exotic.
Actors playing them now, and
aye. There's an advertisation you can get on Now TV.
Oh, get that to fuck. Oh, like who's asking for that? Like, shoot, like, get that to fuck. No, I was quite surprised that the sport bit was the bit you disliked the most. But just to sort of cover a few final points, because I suppose it was me that picked this. But like Barnes said, I think the music's amazing. I just think it looks cool as well. Like, they just wear normal clothes, right? And it looks really fucking natural and to the time period, right? But you could dress up as these two for Halloween and you would sort of recognise who you were trying to be, even though they don't. It's not like they wear fucking costumes. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's a really difficult thing to do. That they sort of look iconic, but they don't wear a fucking particular thing. If that makes sense. I just think everything about it looks cool. And it gave me a lot of. See, when I was young and I watched this was my first sort of time seeing what you maybe say was black culture in a movie, where it wasn't about. See, in a lot of movies, you always saw it as like a negative, or it was like people who were fucking committing crimes and stuff like that. And I think it was a major issue in the 90s, is that's what was presented in films quite a lot. Whereas this, Woody Harrelson's the sort of fish out of water. He's the guy that's just sort of having to fit in with the community, and he's the one that would get picked on for being sort of different. And there's loads of sort of racial slurs back and forth, which I thought would maybe come up a wee bit because we spoke about it with Rush Hour. But in this movie, you can tell it's not coming from any sort of place of malice, right? And I think the fact that
context,
exactly. And I think the fact that none of us mentioned any of that making us feel uncomfortable as a fucking shows what this movie's done to submerge you into an environment, and you felt like you were in that environment, and none of it felt shocking. If you know what I mean, it just felt like people naturally speaking how they would speak. So I do love this movie so much. It influenced me a lot as a kid. I used to watch it all the time. It made me wish that I was a potential basketball star like Sean, but I wasn't very good at basketball, although I did try a few times.
The way you said that James Sean was actually a basketball star. The way you said that, I wish I was a. I wish I was a basketball star like Sean is.
I wish I was as good as Sean. I mean, I just want to clarify your story further on. the way it came across to me was there only ever was one match, and it was against Falkirk High. Was that the extent of your basketball career, a one match against Falkirk High?
Yeah. Was that not enough for you? Like, what more do you want?
The thing is,
I'm sorry.
A crowd coming away with a away victory. What more do you want?
Have any of yous played for your school and away to a local rival for the basketball team? I don't think so.
No,
So don't you be coming at me.
We're just clarifying that I was.
Well, did Charles replying that he played basketball for his school, so
That's going
Kyle's far too small to play basketball. Let's not kid ourselves on here. He's far too small. He's never won a tip off in his life. I actually want to give me basketball now.
I
don't think that's just his height. I can't imagine Kyle can jump very high.
No.
No.
I'm actually
he's going to come in with some taekwondo chat at the moment.
He'll karate chop me.
So let's go to the scores. We'll go to Kyle's first. So Kyle gave this a 4.25 out of 5. What about you, Sean?
I'm going to give it a 3.75.
Sound. Hunter?
4.5 for me.
Burnsy?
A 3.5 for me.
And it's a 4.75 for me. Love it.
Just to clarify, Hunter, you gave it a 4.5, is that right?
Correct.
I don't know what it is when you do that, but it just sounds like you're being a dick.
Are you sure
that's a 4.5? Are you sure?
Is that
that's a 4.15 overall.
Wow, I'm delighted with that. I'm waiting for Kyle to type into the chat where that puts it. Well done. I'm very happy.
I would like to know where it is in relation to Moneyball, because I still Moneyball. I loved Moneyball. I prefer Moneyball over this, but I can't think of many other sports films that we've watched.
Joint with Die Hard and Home Alone at number 16. So, but Moneyball, did Moneyball not get a boost?
I did.
I gave it a boost.
So I understand Moneyball being up there. Oh, it's just above Moneyball. There you go.
Oh, is it? Oh dear.
Just above. And to me, this is the best sports movie ever. I love it. Apart from maybe Rocky.
Moneyball was better.
Rocky / Raging Bull maybe edge it, but apart from the two, this is up there for me.
And I think the point we made is in terms of the actual sport within a sports movie, this does it better than any film I've ever seen. I think it's difficult to argue. So we don't have movies to announce for next week because I've only just started to vote. But what we'll do is it's going to be pre-2000s was what came up in the category. So we decided. I noticed this week how much I do so much work getting these movies together, and then I just let you guys argue about which ones we get out of them, which was I really enjoyed that. I'm going to do that format going forward, where we just all vote on what we pick. So we picked a movie from every year from 1984 up to 1999. So get on Instagram, MoronsReviewingMovies. Kyle's will be happy that I've given that. Burnsy, what are you taking a picture of?
I'm sending the scores.
Oh,
okay. I thought you were doing something weird. I just saw you taking a picture.
That's my job for the. That's the only job I have for the full thing.
So do you like to take a piece of paper and take a picture of the piece of paper?
No, I'm taking a picture of my computer.
Why do you just note the scores down on your phone instead of putting it on a Word document on a computer and then taking a picture of your computer?
Put the accountancy skills to use.
It's easy to type though. I find it easier to type on the computer. Quicker to do that than type on my phone.
This might be the least interesting thing we've ever discussed on this.
I know. I don't know why. Well, it's basically your and Sean's fault. You're the two that have brought it up. I was just happy to go about my business and used to have started lambasting me for some reason.
Right. Kyle's us by spinning the wheel, so the wheel's now spinning. Let's see what we're going to have the category for next week.
I'm hoping it's my movies because I've already picked them.
Oh,
that'll do. I'll take that.
What's that?
Romance
that
me?
Is that horror or Sean?
That's horror.
That's horror.
Fuck off, man.
Yeah. So I
That was my second favourite behind my own picks. I'm delighted with that.
sound. So horror movies coming up. I'm excited to go and get a list together. This is why. So my worry is that what we've got available on the platforms might limit us. So I might suggest a few that we could chuck in.
Well, I think maybe the time span between next week's stream on Thursday and possibly earlier in the week after, that maybe having a shorter voting window and shorter options might actually work out. So
Yeah, I'll just put the horror movie vote up right after this one finishes. So we've got all the movies that we know for next time. So if you want to influence what we pick, get on Instagram, get voting. That's the wee plug for them. But so that'll be us for the night. How does Kyle normally finish this? He does that wee awkward thing at the end, eh?
no, he does that thing where he keeps us recording and doesn't tell us who's actually going to cut it off, and he cuts it off where he decides fits.
Which is essentially what's now. Aye. So we're now stuck in this limbo where he's in control of when this stops, but he's not here to stop us by talking.
I think we maybe address the people who are still listening at this point and saying thank you for still tuning in.
Yes. At this point, you should probably turn this off, but you can keep listening if you want.
Yeah.
What's happening in the golf, Burnsy? I noticed a few times.
Oh, I've been too engrossed with this chat, so I don't actually know. But I think none of the folk I put bets on are doing any good, so that's a bit disappointing.
I seen Tiger was 3 off the lead. I got a wee Sky Sports notification during the stream.
He's been on it constantly, so you've not really seen much anybody else because he's playing. But
well, we called the podcast this week. When did you see your first tits in a movie?
I'd taken to a notice something. What was the thing?
Is this still recording, or are we talking normal now? What's going on?
No,
when it gets cut, so we don't know at what point it gets cut, so we just keep talking.
Stop recording it, Kyle. Fucking.
I'd taken come in with your Jesus chat and hot fiery Latinas.
Come in with your Jesus chat, for you.
that was the first one I took down because it was just a misunderstanding between you two as well.
Aye, come in with your Jesus chat. I quite like. Bye. Anyway, that's us. Listen to us again next time. Right. Bye.
See you later.
Bye, Kyle.
We can just all leave the chat anyway. He'll just be there himself. That's what just goes off Skype.